Okay, we are learning Sukka39 today. We are broadcasting from somewhere in Pennsylvania. Um, okay, so we're talking about Hallel. We will start from the top of Lamites by the two dots. Makam Shanagu Lichbel. So the Mishnah says in a place where the minig was to double up psukim, so then that's what you would do. That's what was that referring to? That was talking about from Ana Hashem and on. So says the Gemara, Tana Rebbe Keifel Badvarim. Rebbe Lazar ben Parta Moisef Badvarim. So Rebbe would be Keifel, which means from Ana Hashem he would double like we do. Ana Hashem Mashiach, Ana Hashem Mashiach, Ana Hashem Matzlichana, Ana Hashem Matzlichana, and then Baruch Haba, v'chulei. Rabbi Lazar ben Parta would be Moisef. What would he be Moisef? Say practically more man Moisef. Am Rabbi Moisef lichbal me oidecha ulamata. He would go back to oidecha. Rashi already explained to us that most of that capital is doubled. At least the kat tevlachs Hashem, tevlachs Hashem, Subavuni, Dachadichisane, Hashem, like Kalrina, Vishot, Yemin Hashem Isachel, Yemin Hashem, Le Amos, Velamos Lane Sanani, Piskli Shar Sadek, Zashar. So those are all doubles. Oitcha, it stops at. Rebbe Lozer ben Parta, he would double those psukim also, so the whole capital would then be doubled, and that's what we do as well. Okay, Levarech, if there was a minute to make a bracha, so you should make a bracha. Amar Abaye, Elisha, that's talking about the bracha after Halal. Avalafanav, but before Halal, mitzvah Levarech. There's a mitzvah to make a bracha. Amar Yud Amar Rab, Amar Yud Amar Shmuel. Kol mitzvahs kul mevarech alein over lasias, and all mitzvahs that you do, you make a bracha on them before you do them. Umay mashma the high over lishan dachdumi. The lashon that was used was Yemevarech over liasias. What does the word over mean? So we bring sources that the word over means before. So he went before the kushi. He went before them. So there's a mitzvah to make, being that we're saying halal is a mitzvah, therefore we make a bracha when saying halal. Taisis here is trying to figure out when exactly to make a bracha on your lulav. And he says, you should really you should make a bracha on the lulav before you pick it up, because it says you have to make a bracha on them before you take it. And the lulav, once you pick it up, you're yaitza. Therefore, Taisis give two eitzes, and these are things we're familiar with. One is that you hold something upside down, which that way when you pick it up, you're not fulfilling your obligation, right? To pick it up and then to turn it upside down and then make the bracha, you're already yaitza when you picked it up. So you have to be careful when you pick it up. You should pick it up upside down. That's one eitzah. The second eitzah is that when you pick it up, you should have an explicit kavana not to be yaitza. I don't like turning around my esrog because I'm scared it's going to fall. So when I pick it up with explicit kavana not to be yaitza, and then I make after I make the bracha, and then when I make the bracha, I'm yaitza. The other option is to pick it up when it's upside down. That's his taste here over asiyas. Zok the Heilige Mishnah. Halakech mechaber b'shvi is mamish. Halach l'maisa, or not going to do halach l'maisa, but this is unzer sugya. This year is a Shemitah year, so let's see. It's really more again next year, as we'll see. Halakech lulav mechaver b'shvius. If you buy a lulav from your friend in the month in a Shemitah year, noisenly esrog b'matana, you should ask him to give you the esrog for free as a gift. Because you're not allowed to purchase it during Shemitah. We'll see momentarily why that is. What happens if the guy doesn't want to give it to you as a matana? So then what do you do? You should swallow up the value of the esrog in the lulav. So don't pay for it separately. Pay for the lulav. Give him a lot. Give him for the whole bunch. Pay for it at once, and therefore at least there's havla. What's the big deal? Why can't you just give him money for the esrog? Says the Gemara, we don't give money of Paris Shvius to an Am Haaretz. the Tanya, like we learned in the Brisa, Ein Meisrin de Me Perish Shvius La'am Haaretz Yesem Mazin Gimel Sudas. You don't give more money of Perish Shvius more than a day's worth of food. Let's understand what the issue is. Let's take a look at the Rashi. Ein Meisrin de Me Peris. Says the Gemara, the Torah says, La'achla v'lei l'schira. The Perish Shvius are meant to eat and not to do business with. Meaning, Shakol Perish Shvius Chayavan lehizbar b'Shvius. All Perish Shvius need to be gotten rid of in the 7th year. Not only the fruit themselves, but also whatever the money given for the fruits. Meaning, whatever when you have a fruit, you can eat it, you can sell it, but when you sell that fruit, the value of the money that's given for the fruit now has kedusha shvius on it, and therefore that money also must be gotten rid of before Shemitah is over. So the reason why you can't do schera, because what does schera mean? It means I'm going to save this and make more money with it when these things aren't in stock or there's not so much of them. So it says Rashi continues, to save it for after Shemitah, and then to make money off of it. Amratzim were suspected for doing this. The concern here is that if you're going to give it to them, they're going to do business with it. They're going to hold on to it, and they'll do, and they're not going to get rid of it before the end of Shemitah. But you could give them money for 3 sudas. 3 sudas is what you need for a Shabbos. But being that you can give them money for 3 sudas on Shabbos, even during the week, you can give them. You can buy a day's worth of food from them. Now, what happens? So that's the halacha. So you can't give money to a perish shvius. Now, what happens if you did vimaser? If you forgot and you gave him more than a day's worth of food, then Yomer, you should say you should say that I want the money that I just gave him. That should be mechulal. I want that money to the kedusha that's in that money should be transferred onto fruit that I have in my house, and now my fruit is going to be the from a field that was left as hefker. So you saw this guy going into the field. He collected some misregim, and now he is selling them. Okay, that works. But if this guy has his asuk field that he's watching and he wasn't mafka the field, then afila b'chatzi isra, you can't buy anything from him. Being because Rashi says it was lacked. That means he's not being mafkir this field to the aniyim. And he's just doing harama. He's going out and selling a little bit, but really he has a lot to sell, and he wasn't mafkir his field, and that is usher. So therefore, we can't give him anything. Okay, so again, so the halacha here is that we are saying you're allowed to give him, if you're buying mina mufker, you can give him a little bit. Now, you're only allowed to give mazin gimel sudas. That's it. If it's hefker, viramini, I'll ask you a stira. Hapigim. We're going to talk about different types of herbs or vegetables. Hapigim is ru, vayarbuzin is sorrel, shitin is asparagus, chaliglas are I don't remember. Kuzbar is coriander shabaharim that grows in the mountains, not in your garden. Karpas is also parsha that grows shabinaharis. Vahagagir is yeruka, which may be something like I forgot what the type of lettuce that we have. I forgot what that's called. Rashi is uruga, but sounds like something we have. What's that stuff called? Arugula. Yeah. Okay. So shall offer. These are things that were generally where people let them they grew wild. Anything of these that you actually grow and didn't grow wild, so that would be an issue. But these are Pturim and Meiser, and every year during the Shemitah cycle, they're Patur for Meiser because they're assumed to be hefker. They grow wild. V'necham mikol adam b'shvius. You're allowed to buy from anybody during Shemitah. Because people don't keep this stuff; they just grow wild. So you see, the things that are mina mufker, you're allowed to buy. V'nikhan sounds like you buy as much as you want. It's not limited to a 3 sudas worth. So it says who ma'isilav who mefarikla bikdeiman. No, it means you're also only allowed to buy the amount of to feed a guy for a day. Bikdeiman, mazin of gimasudas. What it means here that you can be nikhan doesn't mean you can buy as much as you want. It only you're limited to spend the amount of 3 sudas worth. Where do we find that this word man is a lashon of mazin, of food? The pasuk says vayaman lehem hamelach. Rashi says this in Daniel, and it's talking about where the king fed them and supported them. He used lashon of vayaman hamelach. Man is a lashon of mazin, of feeding them. Okay, so now if this is the case that you can't buy esrog, why are you allowed to buy lulav? Yachi lulav nami. Why is lulav any different than an esrog? Says the Gemara. The Gemara on Daf Mem will discuss what you use a lulav for and why is it just considered a piece of wood. But lulav nami. Gemara says yeah, but lulav bar shishas hanichnas l'shviyasi. A lulav no lulav grew in 15 days. You know, from the time from Rosh Hashanah till Sukkot, that you're buying a lulav that is in the Shemitah year. And an Elan, things that grow on a tree, go basar chanata after you harvest them. After you pick. Elan basar chanata means after it's when it's sprouted. That's when you judge when what year the fruit grew in. It's if it grew during basar chanata is when it sprouted. Okay, so that's why a lulav is not a problem because it's for sure from Shemitah, from not a Shemitah year, from the year before, from the 6th year. Mar says, well, it's like an esrog also grow on trees. So this esrog is also a bas shishis hanichnas l'shvius. This esrog grew last year. Says the Gemara, it was chanata is when it sprouted. It didn't sprout now. So the Gemara says, esrog basar lechkita linan. An esrog doesn't go when it sprouted, but actually when you harvest it, and therefore you could have very possibly harvested it now. In fact, the Gemara Eliezer leaning shvius esrog basar chanata linan. But both Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Eliezer say that when it comes to Shemitah, we view an esrog as a tree, and therefore it should go basar chanata. Ditnan, because we learned in a Mishnah, esrog shava li'ilam begimel drachim. An esrog is similar to a tree in 3 ways. Uli yerek b'derech echad. It is similar to a yerek in one way. The reason why an esrog is different than other trees is because most trees just grow with rainwater. An esrog, as we mentioned before, grows al kol mayim, which means that it grows with irrigated water as well, which is similar to vegetables. Ditnan, we learned in a Mishnah. Esrog shava li'ilam begimel drachim uli yerek b'derech echad. What are the 3 ways? Shava li'ilam begimel drachim. It's similar to a tree in 3 ways. That's la'arla. It has the halachas of arla the first 3 years. Ula revai, the 4th year is kaddish. You got to bring the fruit to Yerushalayim. Ula shvius, and it has the halachas of shvius, which presumably means that it goes basar chanata when it's sprouted. Ula yerek b'derech echad, and it's similar to a vegetable in one way. Top of daf mem shebishas lekitasai isurai, that it goes basar lakita. It goes basar when you harvest it for what year of meiser. The halacha is that the Shemitah cycle is 7 years. Year 1, 2, 4, and 5, you take meiser rishon and meiser sheni. Years 3 and 6 is meiser rishon and meiser ani. So if I harvested a esrog in year 3, but it grew in year 2, you're not going to take meiser sheni, but you're going to take meiser ani. That's what it means. It's similar to a vegetable in one way that it goes basar lakita. It's always like an esrog, even in 3 ways. So the Gemara is asking, so why is our Mishnah saying that we're going to have a problem with an esrog and not a lulav? L'chayra, an esrog goes basar chanata. That means it grew in the 6th year, even if it was harvested after Rosh Hashanah of the year 7. Tomorrow we'll find another Tana that holds that Esrog is different, and that we will see Be'ezras Hashem tomorrow.